what zodiac connects to the heart?
Okay, so what does he mean to you? Masculine.
Masculine.
So now apply, what does art mean to you?
Inspiration, creativity.
And you already said the word previously. You thought it was more
Feminine.
Okay, so what would a heart be? What are the two symbols to you together? In your own words, express your own symbol.
Well, the heart is meant to like do everything in your whole body. It pumps your whole blood system, and like heart is of the love that you put out into the world and for yourself.
So he and art in a logical sense would be like the masculine and the feminine coming together. I would say soul, your soul, comes into existence. So it's where you can feel your presence the most. So your heart itself is where that takes place. It's a meeting between a masculine, and the feminine nature of creation. So when we're the feminine nature of creation, we are coming into form as a he, to be art.
Oh. I don't know why. I should have known that, but because my Chiron is in Leo, it forced me to like struggle through interpreting all of that, because that's like not something that allows it to be unlocked all the time in me. So, but I also feel like I can tap into that a lot, because it's also my rising sign, which is my soul.
Essentially, the soul is the sun too. So it's the emittance, and it's a fractal symbol in its own. So it's where the light comes in, or I would say it's where the light continues on. It carries on.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what the whole thing I was getting without being able to express into like articulation of words from
How
you're dissecting it right now. Like my whole dream was like that feeling of how we just express all of this, but I wasn't able to put it into words or symbols and dissect it into the different concepts with the symbols.
it helps to have an experience,
Yeah.
because your experience then echoes an experience.
You could always dissect every little thing around.
To come into a
Everything has meaning. They come into the Tim.
by being through the heart.
It's so weird that the symbols are like so simple in a way. Like I'm just dreaming of like these symbolic images and meaning. Like I get it. Is there something deeper to all of it? I mean, I feel like there always is. Don't get me wrong. All of it feels really deep already. Interpreting it in a way where we can see the symbols and the meaning. It's just like reading. Once you get to knowing how to do all that, it's just like reading the energy.
Right when you were saying that, I was reading your water, the wave illustration.
Few more stress lands. The wave illustration. And then there's the ends of the birds.
On top of it being water, the representation, it like brings everything fractally into existence.
I can always remember all of this by looking at that image now while I'm drinking my water every day.
Well, it's all comes from your heart.
I think you need a little image somewhere close to you.
So is there anything from your experience, the dream, anything that got brought up today that you want to have a deep dive with or want to have deconstructed? We can even deconstruct the word Leo, which is like the parameter of energy. Oh, sphering out. It's fielding. It's your heart.
E is your heart.
Or E is energy, but it's energy going through that.
And O just expanding.
It's O is your field, your heart.
Wow, yeah, that makes sense. What about Taurus?
Taurus, T, coming to a point. A, extending. U, so it's extending from, bringing into R, continuance from an extension of a field. And then us coming into S, transference, which essentially is like once you have Aries, you rise, you tore us. So you come into us.
Really?
Through a point, essentially.
I feel like you just had a Taurus, but that's a long one.
It is, but it's a transference extending generatively, because it has to generate with the G. I through being, and then you got TT. So not only just coming to a point, but to a point's point.
A point's point?
Sagittarius. So Aries becomes Aries with a U. So instead of the energy continuing, it's the energy coming into.
Well, Cancer.
Cancer would be Cancer. C coming into like a concentration, like it's cubizing. So like C itself, A is the extension of that, N is onward to another C, which is continuing past that, and R is the extra boost it receives. So it's continuing past the sphere of emittance, in which case you're talking about your own field. It's a concentration into your own concentration that continues on. So that's your field. That's why you can feel. That's why it's associated with emotions and water.
I feel like we should draw out some like symbols almost of like do the whole alphabet and then like attach a symbol to each one. Or like if it can be a symbol, it's easy to interpret. It's like a key word. You know what I mean? Like you can't really draw the magnetism of something, but like would that be M in a way? The O could be like the spiral, or like not a spiral, but like 3 circles in a circle, like obviously creating like vibes and vibrations. I mean, like expanding outwards.
See, that's smart.
You know what I mean? Like
smart.
That's what I'm interpreting when you're saying these certain things. And you're kind of going too fast for my brain to be like, oh, what would this like symbol be, or what would this word be, to like remember it, because I'm still visualizing it. It's like a picture in my head. It's not quite clear, but it's like coming together. Yeah. And some of the letters I feel like could be worked on to describe a little better. So this whole concept is like just as if you're reading, you know what I mean? Just symbols at the end of the day, everything is, right?
There's so much to go off it. And at the same time, too, we try to be as present for it as possible, because sometimes it happens to us.
Right. Because we're catching the inspiration bubbles that float all around us, carrying on. Who knows, these spirits might be like saying certain things, doing certain things, and that creates a whole new, I don't know, just creates something that is light that we can now like touch.
And light shines from the heart.
And then there was this theory of maybe there's something, the theory, I thought it was another podcast, someone saying like, what if you can call it God or source or the universe, like sending down certain things at certain times for our species to evolve in a short term of trying to describe what they were talking about. But what if it's more versus like everything all the time, creating it, even spirit realms, you know what I mean? And different planes of existence, which is going through the whole spiral of like, it just gets through to different areas, you know what I mean? But I guess it's just like us tuning like the radio to like that exact frequency to then catch it or like feel it and then get inspired by whatever that is and create it or do it, you know what I mean?
That says so much in one.
Yeah. I wish I could have an image to share, because it's like this vision in my mind that is so clear to me, but it's hard to like put into words. I think everybody has this like knowing of what I'm talking about in a way, you know what I mean? The more you learn about all this stuff like that we're talking about and how you're interpreting even like the sound frequency of the letters, forming the word, creating the meaning, it really makes me think of all these subliminal messages that are out there that are like right there in your face, and how like positive they could be, or even how dark they could be, and how that could be affecting us. Like that alone creates like comfort of the energy field, right? Everything's alive. It's like why we put crystals all around our house, because they just have good energy intentions, emitting their fractal like facets.
And amplification.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. That's why another thing is bad feng shui is like when you have, I guess it's like you're representing something, so maybe you can turn it into good. So then maybe that has something to say on its own, but like having real plants versus fake plants, you know, just imagine all the real plants in our house, like how much it's giving us. Like I love having life plants.
When you have living things around you, it extends your life because it offers you more to be with. And at the same time, it's creating your own little collective.
The energy, or clean like the environment and the air in your space, like African violet. There's so many other like tropical plants too that do that.
They all have a gift.
That one, the money tree, might even have some sort of, I mean, it's called a money tree. It has to be given some sort of positive stuff out there into our little psyches.
And money is a currency. The currency is the connection in which we are able to form exchanges. There's so much that you can experience that you don't need money, you know, and that's the truth. You can have an experience with nature. You can have an experience with individuals. You can have an experience where as long as you're taking part in a part of it, not only are you bringing forth the reality to become into being through the light of the sun, the soul, we're souling into being. And when we are expressing that through ourselves to be ourselves, we're also allowing more capacity for the field that we're all interconnected. If we're fractally existent, however you want to play off that, our will, which is like the way we are able to put out there, comes through that choice of where we want to choose to put it out, where and how. So we're like ultimately responsible, but no differently than being ultimately responsible for like our heart. When you have our heart in the right place, or when you're like able to emit as your most present self, you are connected to something that's deeper. And that deepness is actually part of your nature, able to flow through you through the gifts that you have to connect likewise. It's your own unique crystal, each faceted to a particular connection between two planets, which form the plane. It's why we have a flavor, a variety of how we interconnect with the sphere. The sphere itself is the heart of everything we're interconnected fractally with. We're nothing but heart through heart.
And that's why I create heart work. Because that's what your purpose is. When you're creating from your heart and making stuff out into the world, that's when you're on that purpose.
I think that in Q quote was actually passion, positive action. But if I put passion through my art of symbolism, P is like the projection, A is the extent, SS is like essentially like carrying on, like it turns into something and turn into something else. I into being, O on essentially is just turning it on. It's allowing it to be onward. So it's like how we project our heart essentially is the passion.
Crazy. So like long ago when we first started forming words in the sentences of meaning, like our intuition was like really formulating all of that for it to come full circle now, thousands of years later, and we can dissect each letter and each word to make it fractally the meaning of what that is. Does that make sense?
Self-aware of awareness.
Yeah. It's just, becoming more. It's been so hidden from us, I feel like. Because it's like so simple in a way. But like, why are we just now like able to realize it?
Cycles. You're coming towards the galactic, closer to its heart.
Yeah.
Through the stream of the connections, through the fractalness. The sun itself can even pick this up, which is why we're able to receive it more. If the sun got more bright from a yellow, then this intense light is how much is coming in to be welcomed in. Now, the more we welcome and the more we can become that comes welcome in. So that comes to the intensity of how much can become to be, which is technically an intensity. And the intensity itself is existence. So there's so much to it. But with all the spirit that we've experienced, that is continuously existing too at its own frequency, a part of it all. So we're all connected and we all are connected to seeing it all come together. So we carry on, not only through the heart, but through the heart of the heart, just as much as we are part of the heart that brought us to be.
And if more people were able to fulfill their passions instead of all the things in life that distract you from doing that, you would have that positive action to move forward and onward towards all of these goals and way of life.
And we get a learning experience, one that's imprinted a part of the genetic that we are made of. We're genetic, we're created, where we're generating essentially, GEN, onward energy. So we're generating into a point to come into, which is C. So what like the genetics is what we're coming into to see. But when we're like generating ourselves to be, that essence is like a reverberation. When you have the B, it's like two rings coming together. And then that intersects at some point. So you can actually start to create form, which is why when you have a Y, you have the intersection that creates the Q, which is why we have the planets, just as much as why we have the chakras. The chakras are no more than the same thing as our own planets, which is why we can be associated both on a zodiac and a planetary essence. Why we can see the heart as both something associated with Leo, as well as something associated with the concept of planet associated to it, which is the sun, which also expresses our essence to the color green, which is why we can see so much green and surround ourselves with plants and things that are green. Because like you've experienced in your awareness outside of your perception, that green frequency interlinks light itself.